There is a question to begin with. How do you differentiate impersonality from indifference? Can the latter be a step to the former? Indifference is an attitude which does not want to take notice of what is happening, whether it is pleasant or unpleasant. One doesn't approach it either to accept or to reject. Things are allowed to happen with no participation in it. That is indifference. A stoic attitude is the next step where you accept things as they come without participating in the moment. Things have come and one has to live them. So there is neither attraction nor repulsion. That is stoic attitude. You don't try to avoid, you don't welcome. It is a more philosophical poise than indifference. Impersonality is something totally different. The personal element, the personality as it has formed, is absent. But you are not indifferent. The life movement, you participate in the life movement, but without exercising either a preference or a negative reaction. In fact, there is no reaction to anything that happens when there is this impersonal poise. It is something higher than the personal. You take the rasa of things, but not from a personal angle. You do it from the base of certain principles, values. Whether the thing concerns you or not, you participate in what comes before you, taking the rasa of the situation. In the matter of food, for instance, there are some who are totally indifferent to what is served, to what they eat. If you ask them after a few hours, what did you have for dinner? They wouldn't be able to answer easily because they are indifferent. They go through it as a matter of routine without enjoying it, without expressing displeasure to what is not welcome. But in an impersonal case, one takes the rasa of things and participates in the act of eating without preference. You all must have heard how when Sri Aurobindo was in the guest house, and one day it appears that somebody had forgotten to put salt in one of the preparations. And when the whole thing was over, and the boys discovered and complained that there was no salt, someone turned to Sri Aurobindo and said, "How is it, sir, that you didn't say there was no salt? Why didn't you tell?" Then he said, "There is a rasa in food without salt also." Now this is the impersonal. Sri Aurobindo was from top to bottom a very impersonal being. Mother was very personal, though behind there was the vast impersonality. In her dealings with us, in her action, she was highly personal. She took personal interest, pursued matters from a personal angle, even personal of the person talking to her. That is, she functioned from that love. So impersonality, true impersonality, is a highly evolved spiritual condition, spiritual state, to which indifference can be a preparatory step, because most of us are involved in our likes and dislikes. And the first lesson in spiritual sadhana is to be detached from both likes and dislikes. This can very well be the first step towards impersonal consciousness. The Ramana Maharshi, for instance, he was always impersonal. He never said I. He would point, but he would not say I. That was his way. He did not participate. But Sri Aurobindo participated in the movements around him, but in an impersonal manner. You are impersonal when you are not bothered about the results of what you are doing. Things come to you for action, you act, and that's the end of it. You don't wait to see what are the results, how far they correspond to what you have done, do they correspond to what you have wanted. That's not the concern of an impersonal action. So this is the answer. And as I was saying, it may be stimulating to all of us if friends have questions to ask at any time. They can be put on the table or passed on, and if they are relevant to our study, we'll certainly take them up. Now, we were speaking of the most useful work to be done. The first item we have already done, and that was for each individually to be conscious in himself of the divine presence and to identify himself with it. The second, to individualize the states of being that were never till now conscious in man. That's the first part. States of being that were never till now conscious in man. To put it simply, we are all aware of three states of being: the physical, the vital or the life energy level, and the mind. We are not conscious in the true sense of the term, but in a way generally we know. We act, we are aware of the body, we are aware of the energies, life energies, we are aware of our mind through our thoughts. These are the three states of being which are active overtly in the world of man. But once you enter into the spiritual dimension, slowly other states of being open up. And they are a state of consciousness which broods over the mind, of peace, of quiet, a state of consciousness which goes beyond the individual frame, what you may call the general universal consciousness, and the consciousness above the mind, the spiritual levels of being, of which again there are several grades. It is part of the work that is given to a practicant of this path to become aware of the existence and the action of these higher and inner planes of being, of which one is not normally conscious. That means one has not only to understand mentally what are the different levels of consciousness, of being, experience them, open to them, and individualize them, connect oneself directly with them. There is a state of being, for instance, which is not dominated by thought. There is a state where there is a certain light, luminosity of right thought, right thinking. There is a level of intuition where you know the truth without having to think of it, without labored intelligence. You have a flash, suddenly you feel this is that. Now these are all abnormal states for us because we have not yet evolved to that level where these states of consciousness or being operate normally. Mother conceives of a state where individuals, sadhaks, connect themselves, open and connect themselves with these states of being. Broader, inner, higher. These are the three dimensions which are yet to be explored, probed, connected with, and made part of one's life. It is not certainly our goal to realize these states of being. They are on the way. They are part of the steps of the path. The point is, we learn to enlarge our being beyond the triple formula of the physical, the vital, and the mental. Do we really live? Do we really know the plane of mind? And many ask, what is this vital? Actually, these planes of existence are not any geographical areas to which you travel, say during trance or meditation or sleep, whatever. All those are set within each individual, even as they are part of the universe, the macrocosm. They also constitute the existence of the microcosm, the individual. When I am always over concerned with my body, my creature comforts, what I eat and what I want to eat, what I want to do physically, I am on the physical level. I am on the physical plane. When I am driven by desire and passion, when I want to fulfill my desires, irrespective of their cost, I am on the vital level. And when I think of anything, whether connected with life externally or not, but when I am in thoughts, lost in thoughts, I am on the mental plane. Similarly, staying here, living, functioning in this triple formula, it is possible by discipline, yogic discipline, to participate in other states of being, other states of consciousness, like illumination, intuition, universalization, the state of the self which is detached, aloof, immutable. Now all these have to be individualized, that is, made part of one's individual life. That's the first part. Then, and by that, to put the earth in connection with one or more of the fountains of universal force that are still sealed to it. For instance, there is the ocean of life force, prana. We live in the ocean, but we are not conscious of it. We are conscious only of one stream, one current of the pranic force that is individualized in our body. The rest we are not aware. In yoga, by a conscious effort, it should be possible to open to the action of the universal life force, life energy. Connect our individual prana, pranic energy with this reservoir of the universal life force. This is just an illustration. To develop a culture, a system of thinking, feeling and action in which this opening to the larger life ocean is natural, has to come one day. When we do that, when we are open to the action of the universal life energies, life force may be one, but energies are many, we will not need to do many things which we are compelled to do and spend our time upon it. For instance, we won't need to cook so much of food, spend so much of time to eat food 3 times a day at least. We don't need to. The life energy, what we produce by physical food, the energy that we produce is hardly a fraction of the energies that sail into you from the universal life fountain, if only you know how to connect yourself with it. Sleep, food, action. All these undergo a radical transformation once you universalize your pranic input. Similarly, there is the domain of the mind where thoughts are very surface frothy movements. There is the world of ideas, there is the world of concepts, with or without thoughts. Thoughts are clothings. So if one can open to them, the whole pattern of thinking changes. We speak of men like Wordsworth, Whitman, who in their special moments had a certain identity with this aspect, with this domain of existence, and their thinking, their feeling was not colored by their personality in those periods. We are not speaking at the moment of the spiritual dimension. So there are a number of states of being. We are practically really at an infant stage, living half-heartedly, half-knowingly in this triple existence. There are many more directions, many more dimensions. They are to be realized, and each individual, when he opens and when he activizes those planes of existence in his life, he becomes a kind of a window. A number of individuals practicing, pursuing the same path, they act as so many centers for the inflow of energies, powers from these new, hitherto inactive states of being. So it is the responsibility of those who want to do the most useful work not only to individualize these states of being, but to function as carriers, as channels of these ingressions of the higher energies. And that is why one individual fully open to the action of these higher forces functions as a channel through which it has an action on the world. Particularly, it is so in case of those who devote themselves to the work of participation in God's manifestation. If you choose to withdraw, cancel yourself from the lists, all these things do not arise. But if you want to fulfill your object of life as a member of humanity, as a individual dynamo of spiritual light, this is a must. To deepen yourself, enlarge yourself, heighten yourself, and act as a channel to those inflowings in your dealings with others. You start ultimately with your dealings with those immediately around you. And that way it spreads. A jnanin, a man of knowledge, a man of wisdom, he doesn't keep things bottled up in himself. He radiates wisdom. He casts pearls of wisdom when he talks, when he writes, when he lives. That is his contribution to the world at large. It may not be recognized immediately, but it adds to the store of wisdom and becomes a heritage of humanity. So each individual has a part to play. I think that's where we could stop for the day and continue next time with the other items.